My 30th birthday came and went on a Tuesday. I spent it alone in my apartment, eating takeout Thai food and reviewing acquisition documents for a pharmaceutical company in Boston. My phone stayed silent except for automated birthday emails from retailers and a text from my dentist's office reminding me about my cleaning next month. Not a single call from my family. Not my mother who'd given birth to me 30 years ago. Not my father who used to make such a big deal about birthdays when I was young. Not my sister Lauren who'd never missed a birthday in her life. Nothing. At 11:47 p.m. I texted my mom, "Thanks for the birthday wishes." She replied at 8:23 the next morning, "Oh sweetie. Was that yesterday? I'm so sorry, we've been so busy planning the anniversary party. You understand? We'll celebrate next time we see you." 3 crying laughing emojis. Like forgetting your daughter's 30th birthday was just a funny little oops. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I went back to work. 2 weeks later, Mom texted again, "Anniversary party is Saturday at the estate. 6 p.m. Can you come early to help set up? We're expecting 150 guests and could really use extra hands serving drinks and appetizers. Wear black. Love you." I read it 3 times. 30 years old. A milestone birthday. Forgotten completely. But they needed me to serve drinks at their party. I typed back, "I'll be there." She sent back a heart emoji and "You're a lifesaver." Saturday arrived cool and clear. Perfect weather for an outdoor celebration at my parents' estate, the sprawling property in wine country that had been in Dad's family for 3 generations. The house where I grew up, where Lauren still lived in the guest cottage, where family legend and legacy meant everything. I got dressed carefully. Not in black for serving. In a silk emerald dress that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Hair professionally styled that morning. Makeup flawless. Jewelry minimal but expensive. Diamond studs, thin platinum bracelet. And at 5:30 p.m. I got into my car. The Bentley Continental GT had been delivered 4 days ago. Midnight blue, custom interior, every possible upgrade. The salesman had barely believed I was serious until I'd wired the full payment. $340,000, no financing, no trade-in. I'd bought it specifically for tonight. The engine purred as I drove through wine country toward my parents' estate. 45 minutes of winding roads and vineyards, the setting sun painting everything gold. I arrived at 5:55 p.m. Early as requested. The circular driveway was already crowded with luxury cars. Mercedes, BMWs, a few Porsches. Old family friends, business associates, people who'd known my parents for decades. Valet attendants in crisp uniforms were managing the flow. I pulled up to the entrance. The valet's eyes widened when he saw the Bentley. "Good evening, ma'am. Beautiful car." "Thank you." I stepped out, handing him the keys. The weight of them, the Bentley insignia, felt significant. My father was standing near the entrance, greeting early arrivals. He turned at the sound of the engine, his smile freezing when he saw me stepping out of the car. "Melissa." His voice cracked slightly. "Hi, Dad. Happy anniversary." He stared at the Bentley. At me in my dress. At the valet carefully parking $340,000 of automobile. Is that yours?" "It is. Just picked it up this week." My sister Lauren appeared from inside, carrying a tray of champagne flutes. She was dressed in black as instructed. She stopped dead when she saw me. "Melissa, you're not. Mom said you were coming early to help set up." "I came for the party," I corrected. "As a guest. But you're not." She gestured at my dress. "Mom said you'd help serve. I'm sure you can handle it." Lauren's eyes went to the Bentley. Even in the fading light, it gleamed. "Is that a Bentley?" "Continental GT. Yes. Those are like..." She couldn't quite say the number. 340,000, I supplied. "Give or take depending on options." Dad had gone pale. "Melissa, what's going on?" "I'm attending your anniversary party. 38 years of marriage. That's impressive. How did you afford..." He stopped himself. "A Bentley? That's an interesting question." I smiled. "Should we talk about it now, or would you prefer to wait until after you greet your other guests?" More cars were pulling up behind mine. People were starting to stare. "Maybe we should go inside," Dad said quietly. "Excellent idea." The house was transformed. String lights everywhere, flowers on every surface, catering staff moving efficiently through the space. Mom had gone all out. This was the social event of the season, the party everyone wanted to be invited to. Mom herself was in the great room directing staff with military precision. She wore a stunning silver gown, diamonds at her throat, the ones Dad had given her for their 25th anniversary. Melissa. She rushed over, then stopped short. Why aren't you in black? I told you to wear. She noticed my dress, my hair, my jewelry. What are you wearing? A dress. For the party. But you were supposed to help serve. No, Mom. You assumed I would help serve. I never agreed to that. She looked past me to the window where the Bentley was visible in the driveway. Is that your car? Yes. How could you possibly afford a Bentley? Behind us, guests were starting to arrive. The room was filling with people. Their friends, their colleagues, their social circle. Everyone who mattered in their world. We should probably discuss this later, I said. No. Mom's voice was sharp. We're discussing it now. How did you get that car? I bought it. With what money? My money, Mom. The money I earn. You work as a consultant, she said. You can't possibly make enough for. I closed a deal last week. $67 million. My commission was $6.2 million. I paid cash for the car. The room had gone quiet. People were listening now, not even pretending otherwise. $67 million, Dad repeated. I'm a mergers and acquisitions specialist. I broker deals between pharmaceutical companies. The Boston acquisition I've been working on for 8 months finally closed. My firm takes 10%, I personally receive 60% of that. It was a good deal. Mom looked like she might faint. $6 million? 6.2. Before taxes, of course. Lauren had abandoned her tray of champagne. You made $6 million? Last week, yes. Though to be fair, I'd been working that deal since February. It wasn't exactly overnight. But you said you did consulting, Mom protested. I do consult. On multi-million-dollar corporate acquisitions. That's what M&A specialists do. We consult, we broker, we facilitate deals. An older woman I recognized as Mrs. Patterson, Mom's tennis partner, spoke up. Melissa, dear, I had no idea you were in high-level corporate finance. Most people don't, I said. I don't tend to discuss work at family gatherings. Mainly because no one asks. That landed with weight. We ask about your work, Mom said defensively. You ask if I'm still doing consulting. I say yes. You assume that means I'm barely scraping by. You never ask follow-up questions. You never ask what kind of consulting or what I actually do or how business is going. Dad found his voice. You're saying you've been making millions of dollars and you never told us? I've been making good money for 4 years. This deal was exceptional, but I typically clear between 1 and 2 million annually. And no, I didn't tell you because, I gestured around the room. Because of this. Because you forgot my 30th birthday but remembered to ask me to serve drinks at your party. Mom's face flushed. We didn't forget, we just. You forgot. You texted me the next day with laughing emojis. Like it was amusing. We've been busy. Planning this party. I know. You said that. I looked around at the decorations, the flowers, the expensive catering. This probably cost what, $70,000? 80. That's none of your. 92,000, Dad said quietly. Total. So you spent $92,000 on a party but couldn't spare 2 minutes to call your daughter on her 30th birthday. The silence was excruciating. And then, I continued, you invited me to this party not as your daughter, not as a guest, but as free labor. You wanted me to serve drinks. In black. Like hired staff. We just thought you'd want to help, Mom said weakly. Why would you think that? You think Lauren's helping. She's dressed in black, carrying trays. But you never asked me if I wanted to come as family. You just assumed I'd be happy to serve your guests. Melissa, that's not fair. What's not fair is being treated like the family disappointment when I'm actually more successful than anyone gave me credit for. I pulled out my phone. Should we talk about the rest of it? Or is there something else you'd like to discuss first? A man stepped forward from the crowd. Tall, handsome, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit. I'd been waiting for this moment. I think this might be a good time, he said quietly. Mom's eyes widened. Daniel Morrison. Hello, Mrs. Porter. He came to stand beside me, his hand finding mine naturally. Dad's face went through several expressions at once. You're seeing Daniel Morrison? I am. I smiled up at Daniel. For about 6 months now. 6 months, Lauren whispered. Daniel Morrison. Son of Richard Morrison, owner of Morrison Pharmaceutical Holdings. My father's biggest competitor in the pharmaceutical consulting space. They'd been rivals for 20 years, competing for the same clients, the same contracts, the same market share. Actually, Daniel said, it's a bit more than seeing each other now. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Opened it. The diamond caught the light. 3 carats, emerald cut, platinum setting. Flawless. I proposed last night, he said. She said yes. The room exploded in gasps and murmurs. Mom grabbed the back of a chair. You're engaged. As of last night. I looked at the ring on my finger. I'd been wearing it since Daniel proposed at sunset on a cliff overlooking the ocean. We're thinking a spring wedding. Small, intimate. Just close friends and family. You're marrying Richard Morrison's son, Dad said, his voice hollow. I'm marrying Daniel. Who he's related to is incidental. Incidental. Dad's voice rose. Richard and I have been competing for decades. This is 2 people who love each other, Daniel interrupted firmly. Your business rivalry has nothing to do with us. Everything is business with Richard Morrison, Dad snapped. Is it? I asked. Because he asked about my 30th birthday. The first time we had dinner together, Daniel's father asked when my birthday was, wrote it down and sent me flowers. A man who isn't even related to me remembered my 30th birthday when my own parents forgot it. Mom's hand went to her mouth. And when I told him I'd been invited to serve drinks at my parents' anniversary party, I continued, Richard Morrison said, that's unacceptable. You're a guest, not staff. A man who's supposedly my father's enemy showed me more respect than my own family did. Melissa, we didn't mean, Mom started. You never mean it. That's the problem. You never mean to forget. You never mean to dismiss. You never mean to treat me like I don't matter. But you do it anyway. The guests were completely silent now. This was better than any entertainment Mom could have hired. The deal I just closed? I said. The $67 million acquisition? That was Morrison Pharmaceutical Holdings buying a research facility in Boston. I brokered that deal. I worked with Daniel's father for 8 months, and in that time he treated me with more professional respect than my own father ever has. Dad looked genuinely stung. That's not true. When was the last time you asked about my work? Actually asked, not just politely inquired in passing. He had no answer. Daniel asks every day, I said. He knows every deal I'm working on. He knows my clients, my strategies, my challenges. He's proud of what I do. Are you? Of course I'm proud. Then why don't you know anything about my career? Why did you assume I'd be serving drinks instead of attending as a guest? Mom was crying now. We love you, Melissa. I know you do. But love isn't the same as respect. Love isn't the same as seeing me. Daniel squeezed my hand. We should probably. One more thing, I said. I pulled an envelope from my clutch. This is for you. Happy anniversary. I handed it to Mom. She opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a check. For $92,000. That's what you spent on this party, I said. Consider it my gift. Now you're not out any money. Melissa, we can't accept. You can and you will. Because I can afford it. Because I want you to have a beautiful anniversary celebration. But also because I want you to remember that your daughter, the one you forgot, the one you asked to serve drinks, can write a check for $92,000 without even thinking about it. I looked around the room at all their friends, their colleagues, their entire social world. I'm successful. I'm engaged to a wonderful man. I'm happy. And I did all of it without any of you noticing. I smiled. Maybe from now on you'll pay attention. Daniel and I walked toward the door. Behind us, the party had descended into chaos. People talking, Mom crying, Dad standing frozen. At the door, Lauren caught up with us. Melissa, wait. I turned. I'm sorry, she said. For everything. For treating you like you were less than. For not asking questions. For letting them forget your birthday. Thank you, I said softly. That means something. The engagement, it's real? Not just to make a point. I looked at Daniel, who smiled down at me. It's very real. Then congratulations. Really? Outside, the valet brought the Bentley around. Daniel held the door for me, then walked to the passenger side. As we pulled away, I could see my parents' house in the rearview mirror, all lit up, full of people celebrating 38 years of marriage. You okay? Daniel asked. Yeah, I said. I really am. That was intense. It needed to be said. My father's going to love that you dropped the 92,000 number. He'll tell that story for years. I laughed. Probably. We drove through wine country as the sun set completely, the Bentley purring along winding roads, toward the hotel where we were staying. The suite Daniel had booked with champagne and roses waiting. Tomorrow my parents would call. There would be tears, explanations, apologies. But tonight, I drove away in my $340,000 car, wearing my engagement ring, next to the man who'd never once forgotten to ask about my day. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge. Sometimes it's just showing up as exactly who you've become.